Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Shilpa Data Insights. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So you have seen AI is a buzzword now. Every MNC company is trying to integrate their AI in their system. Why is it so? It's because they want to increase the productivity of the people. In small amount of time, you can do a lot of work. You can put your mind into creativity, strategical thinking, business outcomes, and many more. But have you ever thought from where these data is coming to the AI agents? Because AI will need a lot of data inputs in order to think and give you the result. So these data is actually given by the data engineers, because data engineers are responsible to create and structure those data and put it into the storage so that the data can be consumed. It's actually cleaned. And if you have seen, in as per a Google report, data engineers have increased, and also the global big data market is valued to 20 billion, and it is going to increase to reach 401 billion by 2028. So, if you talk about what is the salary range of data engineers, it can range from 8 lakh to 1 crore in India itself. And if you want to be a data engineer, this is the right time to become data engineer in the year 2025. So I will be giving you a complete roadmap how exactly you can become a data engineer in the year 2025. In this roadmap, I will help you giving all the tools and technologies that you actually need in order to excel in big data, as well as I will give you the resources from where you can learn, so that you can create a strategical plan for yourself and you can become an expert in big data. This plan will not be a small plan. This will be a very extensive plan that I will be sharing with you guys. So make sure, sit back, relax, make notes as much as you want and you can, so that you can go back and then learn from this roadmap whatever resources I'm also sharing with you. So let's get started with today's roadmap that I will be sharing in the data engineering field. And I would have followed the same roadmap if I would have started in the year 2025. And that's why I'm sharing this roadmap with you. So the first fundamental thing that you need to learn is a programming language. Then you need to learn about the database management system. Then you also need to learn about Linux. Then you have the cloud technologies, the processing, the data modeling, then Git, and also some projects. So we will discuss everything in detail. So the first thing that comes into a mind of data engineer is, do we need a programming language? The answer is yes. You will need data engineers as programming language. I mean, you will definitely need programming language in your day-to-day activity to become an expert in data engineer. So which programming language would you select? Previously, 5-7 years back, the Scala was in Go in order to become a data engineer. Nowadays, Python is the most preferable language, and that I would also prefer, because Python has a lot of libraries, modules that help you in actually coding the big data. So it is actually open source. The libraries you can use like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Scikit-learn, all these are the libraries which will really help you in analyzing your data. And along with it, Python is very simple. It is not complex. Why am I saying this? This is because you are actually writing the code as if you are writing it in an English language. There are control statements. So control statement means you have an if loop else clause. So if else clause, right? So that is how you use it in the Python. You don't have very hard syntax. You don't need semicolons and all. If you forget that, there's no problem. There is an indentation, that is for sure. You need to keep it in mind when you are actually coding it in Python. So this is actually very helpful. Even data scientists are using Python in order to do their analysis. But this is one go-to thing that you need to learn in order to become a data engineer. That is a programming language. And my recommendation is Python. Now, the second thing that we have is the database. That is the DBMS. So if you think about the database, there are two types of database you can have. One is the SQL database, another is your NoSQL database. So let's first talk about what is SQL. SQL is a structured query language, which means that you are actually querying your data. It is a language which is used to query the database. Whenever you have some data stored in the database, you are actually querying that data from the database itself, right? And for that, you need a language that is called a structured query language. So how exactly will you be querying the database? It's using the structured query language. And that is a bread and butter of any data engineer. If you don't know SQL, there is no use to jump into a data engineering field. So SQL is not only used by data engineers, they are also used by data analysts and business analysts. So it is a must to go learn language, right? And you need to know what is the difference between an SQL and NoSQL. When to use SQL, when to use NoSQL. And if you talk about the DBMS, then in the database management system, you have some properties like ACID properties, right? Relational database, they have optimization techniques like indexing, partitioning, all these things you need to be aware of. Apart from that, if you are learning SQL, you need to know about the joins, the group by, the aggregation, the CTE, that is common table expression, and the windowing function. I will show you from where you can practice the SQL. The major platform that you can practice the SQL is the LeetCode. And same goes with the programming language. If you are learning any programming language, then you need to go ahead and make sure you practice it well and good. Go to a website like LeetCode and practice easy, medium questions with Python. And if you are practicing any SQL question, then make sure you practice the medium and hard level of questions. You also need to learn about the advanced SQL, like the windowing function, which is actually used in everyday basis. And if you are preparing for an interview, that is a must-to-go thing to learn. So these things you need to keep in mind, where to practice from and what all topics you need to practice for Python and SQL. Now let's talk about the processing. Once you have your data, you need to actually process the data. You are not actually getting any kind of clean data. They are all unclean data. They could be a messy data. So what you need to do is you need to clean the data. In order to clean the data, you need a processing system. You need a compute resource, and you need actually heavy compute resource. So for processing, there are two things. One is the batch, another is your streaming. For batch, there is an open source called Spark that you can use for processing, and for streaming, there is Kafka, which is an open source. So whenever you are getting the data and you are processing it, you are cleaning the data, you are removing the null values and everything, then you are actually giving the data scientist or AI the complete clean data. Now, if I talk about Spark, what you need to learn in Spark? You need to learn about the Spark architecture, the master-slave architecture. Then you need to know about the worker nodes, the driver nodes, and also you need to know about the optimization techniques like the partitioning, Z-order, bucketing. All these concepts you need to know. Along with it, you need to know their basics, like what is an RDD, what is a data frame, what is a data set, and how you can build a job. What is the difference between jobs, stage, task, if I would recommend you one particular book, I will recommend basically two books which are very helpful to learn Spark. And those are, one book is Spark, the Definite Guide, that is by Bill Chambers. And this is an O'Reilly book. This, I'm giving you a screenshot. Make sure you take a screenshot of this and keep it with you, because this is a very good book to start with Spark. Then we have also another Udemy course that you can go with, which is the Taming Big Data with Apache Spark 4 and Python Hands-On. This is also a very good book, not book, a video basically, that you can go ahead and watch, because it has given you all the getting started with Spark, your basics, the SQL, advanced examples, running Spark on cluster, machine learning, and Spark streaming. If you want, I also have created a complete playlist on the Spark itself. So I can show you that, and you can actually go ahead and learn it from there. So this is my playlist for the Spark. Where is it? This one, Spark Basic to Advanced, that you can watch. I have explained you what is an RDD, data frame, data set, DAG, everything. If you are finding the terms difficult, don't worry. If you watch each and every video thoroughly and patiently, you will be able to understand how exactly the Spark works and what all things you need to learn in Spark. It has been covered from step by step till the end. So now let's go back to our next topic. So the next topic that you need to learn is Linux. Why you need to learn Linux? You need to learn Linux is because that is the foundation. Every machine, every cluster that you are building, it is built on Linux. It's not built on Windows or Mac. It's built on Linux. So you need to learn how to use the Linux operating system. So basically what you need to learn is you need to know how to navigate through the file system, how to give permissions, how to write scripts, how to schedule cron jobs, and how to parse from a file like awk grep cat command, and how to query the API. So these things you need to actually learn in order to know the Linux. Now let me show you from where exactly you can learn Linux. There is a very useful YouTube video tutorial that has been created by Coach Sheffer a long time back, which I will really recommend you guys to actually look at if you are learning Linux. So if I show you, this is the Coach Sheffer by Coach Sheffer, the Linux YouTube video, and it's free of cost, right? So you can start with navigating your system to create, copy, move, and create your directory, the curl command, how to run the cron jobs, how to explore and customize the dot file, creating alias for commands, and so on, right? So you can actually learn everything about the Linux operating system from this particular video. So right now you have understood about the programming language, the DBMS and Linux, and the processing. These are the foundation. Then comes a little bit advanced, which is the cloud. Now the cloud is a very buzzword again nowadays, but the cloud is very important, because in the cloud you get the storage space where you are actually storing the data. With the click of a button, you can go ahead and spin up a cluster or a virtual machine, and the virtual Linux machine is ready for you to use. And then you can also do all the processing with the heavy lifting of the compute resource that the cloud provides. And then you store it after the processing into your Delta Lake or Data Lake in the cloud itself. Now, the question arises here is which cloud technology you need to use. There are three cloud providers. One is Azure, second is AWS, and third is GCP. Now, it depends on you what you want to prefer and what you want to actually start with. Both AWS and Azure has a very big market right now. AWS was the initiation where the cloud provided. Now, Azure has a lot of demand in the market. If you think about it, if you learn any cloud technology, it is very easy to map the services from one cloud to another. For example, in case of Azure, you have ADLS Gen 2, and in case of AWS, you have S3. These two are the storage. So similarly, all the services you can map with each other and you will get an idea. But before picking up any cloud technology, then you need to first understand the basics of cloud. Learn about the fundamentals of cloud. What do you mean by that? First is how exactly the cloud works. What is a virtual machine? What is an EC2 instance? And what is an IAM role? How the security is being governed? What is the networking that is used behind the cloud? Right? All these things you need to know in order to learn about the cloud. As per my personal recommendation, if I would have started my career in 2025, I would have gone with Azure. There are a little bit more services like you can easily grasp, and Databricks and Fabric, they are actually integrated to Azure and they are continuously evolving and making things easier. So it would be great if you can also start with Azure. And even if you start with AWS, that is also a very great option to start with. But make sure you learn one cloud technology. Now let me tell you a resource from where you can learn the cloud services. Though I learned my cloud services as I was working, but if you are a beginner and you want to learn, then you can go ahead with the Udemy course that I will be sharing with you. So I would recommend you guys to start with Azure Data Factory, which is an orchestration tool. I will explain you what is an orchestration tool in the next step. But you can start with the Azure fundamentals first from any YouTube channel, and then you can go with this Azure Data Factory from basics to advanced, which will cover the cloud computing basics, introduction to Azure Data Factory and the services that is being used in the Azure Data Factory, like you are copying the data or you are parameterizing or you are doing a control flow. Now let's go to the next topic that we have, that is the orchestration. So let's first understand what is an orchestration. Orchestration means you have built your pipelines and you want to actually schedule those pipelines in the night or any time of the day. So you will not go ahead and do it manually, right? So what you need to do is you need to schedule the pipeline. For scheduling, there is orchestration tools available in the market. For example, the basic or the most popular orchestration tool is the Airflow. So you need to know exactly how the Airflow works. What all things you need to actually learn in the Airflow is like how to create a tag and how to actually schedule it. And if in case there are dependent pipelines, then how you can actually go ahead and run one after another, or you need to run the parallel runs for each pipeline. Once you have scheduled the pipeline, there could be a failure of the pipeline, right? The code may break. In that case, there could be a retry mechanism that you can go ahead and put. Once you have the retry mechanism, let's say you have 3 retry mechanisms. After that also, if in case the code is breaking up, then it should actually go ahead and give you the notification that the code has break. So notification could be from anywhere. It could be in any medium, could be an email, could be a Slack notification, or could be a Teams notification. But you need to be aware where exactly the pipeline is breaking in production. So you need an orchestration tool to manage everything. So ADF is one orchestration tool, Databricks has its own orchestration tool, and then Airflow is also there. So I would highly recommend you to practice and learn about the Airflow. Now, the question comes from where exactly you need to practice the Airflow. So there's a very good Udemy course that we have for Apache Airflow, the hands-on guide. So in this is created by Mark and it has 4.5 ratings, which is really good as per the Udemy course. And it actually gives you the basics of Apache Airflow and it creates a pipeline. It will help you understand what is a DAG, how you can improve your DAG, how to scale your Airflow, monitor your Airflow, and what are the securities of Airflow. So this particular video or complete tutorial is actually very helpful to understand the Airflow. So let's go ahead with the next topic that we have. So now a little bit advanced topics comes up. These are the fundamentals of basics, you can say. After that, once you're pro at it, you go ahead and learn about data modeling. Now, Whenever you have a complete data set, they are stored into tables like RDBMS, right? Now you have multiple tables, and in a table you have entities. Now, for example, if you talk about any e-commerce website, let's take an example of Amazon. So if a customer is placing an order, there will be a customers table, there will be a products table, what item has been ordered, what order item, what is the invoice number, how the payment is being done. All these are the entities that you need to store it in your database in order to actually get the complete forecasting or the result data set. Now, once you have learned about this data modeling fundamentals, you also need to learn about the SCD. You need to learn about the slowly changing dimension types. You also need to learn about what is a star schema, what is a snowflake schema, what is facts, what is dimensions. These are the fundamentals of data modeling. Now, if I talk about the resource that you need to learn, there is a very good resource that I will be sharing. That is a book that you can go ahead and read for the data modeling and the data warehousing. So this book is the Data Warehouse Toolkit, which was written by Ralph Kimball. So this is a very good book, and it has all the contents that you actually need to know about the dimension modeling. It will give you about the Kimball architecture, Mendelian architecture, dimensional modeling, or all these things it will be covering. So I would highly recommend you to actually read this particular book for data modeling. So now let's talk about the Git. So Git is basically a code repository which is used for version controlling. So whenever you and your colleagues are actually writing code, you need to maintain a source where exactly you are storing your code. So for that, we have the Git. So you can either use a GitHub, a GitLab, or a Bitbucket. And you need to know how the Git works. What is a commit? What is a pull request? What is a push? How to do a rebase, how to do a merge, and if in case there's a conflict, how to resolve it. So these are the fundamentals of the Git that you need to aware of. And after that, the next topic comes up is the CI/CD. So if you talk about CI/CD, it is the continuous integration and continuous development. What does it mean? It means if you have any new feature and you are integrating it with your existing system, you need to make sure that existing system does not break. So therefore, the CI/CD process is in place. How you can achieve the CI/CD process? Either you can use a Jenkins, or you can also use GitHub Actions to actually complete the CI/CD process. Now, if you are a developer and you are not knowing the Git and CI/CD, it will be very hard to actually go ahead and collaborate with the team. So if you want to be a good engineer, then definitely go with how you can work with Git and what is a CI/CD and how does it work. Make sure you know all this thing, because you want to be yourself as a team player rather than an individual player, right? So let me show you what all resources that you can actually use in order to learn the Git and the CI/CD. So the first resource that you can use to learn Git and GitHub is a Git and GitHub Bootcamp that is written by Colt. It's a complete video and it's a very good tutorial to understand about the Git. So what they have covered here is a introduction to your Git, how you can actually set up, how you can work with your branch, how you can create your feature branch, how you can merge, how you can compare the changes with the Git, and how you can undo changes and time traveling. So these are very important topics that you need to actually learn about the Git. So now the next topic, that is the end topic that we come across, is once you have learned everything about the processing, the Git, the DBMS, the programming language, the orchestration tool, then you need to actually build a project. It's a very important thing that you do at the end, so that whatever you have learned, you are actually putting that inside a project. So let me show you the first project that you can do. These are the hints that I'm giving you. you can also build up any project by gathering the ideas from these topics and build your own. And don't forget to put it in your Git repository, which will really help you to look back what you have done maybe a year ago, right? So the first project that you can build is with the Start Data Engineering, in which you can actually write an ETL code. And here it has given you the introduction, the prerequisite. It has given you a GitHub account, AWS account, and Terraform. And it's basically extracting the data from the CoinCap API, transforming it and putting it into your warehouse. So this is one thing that you can actually build as a project. The second thing that we have is this particular repository of Udacity Data Engineer projects, which will actually help you building up ETL pipeline project, which has a fact and dimension and how you can load the data back into the S3 once you have done the processing. The next thing that I can see here is the Azure Databricks PySpark, because there are different tech stack that you can learn. You can also learn Databricks, which is the processing tool where you can actually process your data set. Here basically you are getting the data from different sources, ingesting the data, transforming it, and then doing the transformations inside the Databricks and publishing it to your data consumer. So it gives you an end-to-end architecture, what all tools and libraries it's using, it's actually giving you, and what are the steps required actually to go ahead and do this complete project. It's also sharing that with you. So now what I can see, there are 3 projects that I have mentioned to you. If there's anything apart from this project you want to build, go ahead, build it, even if it's a small project, but make sure whatever you are learning, you are putting those things in your code repository and you are actually utilizing those knowledge. We have covered a lot of things already, and this roadmap is really extensive. It will not get completed in a month. If you follow it properly, then it is going to take time, but in your own space, go ahead and do it so that you get a good data engineer, and I'm sure you will be able to do it. Now, if the complete roadmap makes sense, then I would highly recommend you to check my playlist as well. I have covered the Databricks tutorial, the Snowflake tutorial, and the Spark tutorial, as well as if you are preparing for any interview, I have also given the interview playlist. And I have created a complete WhatsApp group. If you are going ahead preparing for interview or learning, it's a beginner for you for data engineering, do join that WhatsApp group. It will really help you in achieving what your goal is. So I hope you have liked this video. If you have liked the video, then do hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Till the next video, stay tuned, and I wish you have a good day. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you have a good day.